Okay, so a few days later, and we are on our last row. This is row number 6. What you're looking at here is the Keen's garlic, which is the garlic we bought from Keen's to help supplement the garlic that we grew and our aunt gave us last year. And so what we're going to do is Andrea's going to video me doing the undercutter, and then we will go from there. What Andrea's doing now is, this is the end of the Keen's line, and then where those flags are Parisian Star garlic. Okay, Parisian Star is right here. Now the Parisian Star is a different type of garlic, obviously, than the elephant garlic, and it's not exactly ready yet. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to run the undercutter at its normal height. Then when we get over to here, we're going to try to drop it to have it go down further to not displace the dirt as much, and then we'll pop it back up. And these sad things here, that was what was left of our green garlic that we didn't use enough while it was green garlic, so I'm sure it's all cloved out, and so we'll just plant it again. Then at the end of the rows, the rest of my aunt's garlic. So the good thing is we only have about 270 garlic to do in this row, because all the other rows were about 450. And if you see a bunch of green stuff in the rows over there, that's actually watermelon. This was the area that we grew our watermelon last year, and Helene's big contribution to us last year was it killed our watermelon plants, and we had dozens of watermelon at a certain stage of growth out here rotting, and so some of the seeds must got back into the ground, so now we have watermelon growing all over the place. So it's not the worst thing in the world, so I will take it. So I'm going to get on the tractor now, and then Andrea is going to film this and see if we can actually drop the undercutter over where the Parisian Star is.
And here he comes. And here's the Parisian Star. Further. Okay, he's got to the last part. He's going to try and drop it down lower. Hold on. Okay, got it down too low. So I guess we're taking up the green garlic, but he's finishing out the row. Our soil, I guess, is a little too soft for our soil is a little too soft.
Alright, that was interesting. For people that have a tractor, the highest my 3-point hitch can go is a 9. And so when we run it through the garlic, the elephant garlic, we do it at a 6.5. Then when I got to here, I dropped it down to a 4, and that got it all the way over to here where it eventually got stuck. And so all I had to do was lift it up, and then it was fine again. But yeah, they say that that was a 35-inch undercutter. They have them up to, I think, 6 feet wide, that particular company. And they said that for our tractor, they did not recommend going higher than the 35 horsepower, or 25 horsepower, which is what ours is. And now I know why. So anyway, we're going to harvest this, and then we're going to put it up, and then I'll show you everything. Okay, here's a sneak peek of what we got. I'll do more of a deep dive in the morning, but here's the temporary placement of the Keen's garlic is all right here, and my aunt's garlic is right there. And then that was row 5 right there, which is its permanent placement, and I'll explain to that tomorrow when I finish this. So the other thing we had to do is there was too much sun getting in on the garlic in the evening like this. So we had some extra shade cloths, so we would just went ahead and just put that down. And then in the time of the day that shade cloth's not going, then they're going to be up like this. Well, like the one on the right. The one on the left fell down. So tomorrow it's supposed to be raining, so we're probably going to finish this up in the morning. But at least all of the garlic is harvested. Should say all of the elephant garlic is harvested. The Parisian Star is still out there. Alright, that was weird. Sorry about that, the phone kind of messed up. Oh, actually there's a couple of bulbs we got to get over there. But other than that, all the garlic is harvested, 6 rows, 5 of which had about 450 in it, and the third one had about 275-ish. So we had about 2,400 bulbs this year, and so I call that pretty much a success. There's my manure pile over there, or my compost pile. And so in the morning, when I finish it up, I'll do a little more deep dive. But we're done. We're exhausted. Andrea's back hurts because she's old.
My hip hurts because I fell.
And her hip hurts because she's old.
Oh, and for next year.
Oh, yeah. Now I'll show the green garlic in the morning. So anyway, that's it for tonight, and so we'll come in the morning. Okay, it's Sunday now, the day after we finished, and with perfect timing, now it's raining outside, which is really good because the buckwheat that we planted needs some rain, and that now that the garlic's out of the ground, now it can rain as much as it wants. So here is our garlic that we have. On the bottom row here is row 1. These are the onions, and inside of here are some cloved out ones that were not pretty. An example of a not pretty one would be like these here, where they're cloved out, but the clove is exposed. So originally I just stuck them in with all of the onions. So when I start turning these, which will be later today, then I'll pull all those out, because we should be able to, if somebody wants to buy just like a clove or two, then we can bust one of these things open and give them that instead of breaking one of the pretty garlic ones. So that's row 1. Above it is row 2. And then on the very end over there was the end of row 6, which had about 70 remainder of our garlic, which was part of the garlic that my aunt gave me last year. And that's row 6, so I figured that was just a good spot to put that. Now, up on top here is all the pretty bulbs. I think I just saw Lady Pants, so I think the guys are out right now. And which means Sherlock will probably be in here in a minute. Ah, speak of the devil. Alright, let me shoo him out. When we originally did these last year, these kettle panels, they needed to be 14 feet long instead of 16 feet long, so I cut them down and I saved the pieces. So 2 of them became a good Sherlock deterrent system. So yeah, he's not happy that he's not allowed to be in here. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so here's all of the quote good ones. So let me grab one here real quick. This here is a good bulb. It is cloved out. There's still corms attached, which those corms will stay attached until they start falling off. Therefore, we don't damage the paper. That's what they call the outer skins here, is the paper. And so, but as you can see, it's nicely formed. There, it's not split at the top or anywhere. And so then that's what we called the good bulbs. Now, out of about the 2,400 garlic that we planted, we ended up with about 270 good ones. We probably have, I would say, about another 100 split ones, maybe a little less than that. And then everything else are onions. The onions are these here. So it's a bulb that's just one big clove. So it's not separate cloves, it's just one. And as you can tell, like this one right here, they can get pretty big. So we have hundreds of those. You know, we could have as many as 2,000 of these. So anyway, this was row 1. That was pretty. That was row 2, that was pretty. This was row 3, that was pretty. This was row 4, that was pretty. Row 5, or no, that was row 4, that was row 5, that is row 6. Now, this is all the busted ones that I got from row 5 and 6. So I don't have to sort through those. But then row 3 is on the bottom here. Row 4 is above it. Then we have row 5 is on the bottom here. Now this is all the Keen's garlic. So that's all the Keen's bulbs. Here's all the Keen's cloved out ones. And as you can tell, these got really nice and big. And so then those are the busted Keen's ones, like that one. So that's everything that we did. And so all this is about 2,400. So what I'm going to start doing today is these need to be turned every so often. So what the game plan is to turn this entire section one day, this entire section one day, and then this entire section one day. So about every 3 days, everything gets turned, but I don't have to do them all at once. So I can come out here, and I don't know how long it's going to take to do this, but spend like 30 minutes or however long it takes to do this. And so I'm just doing a third of it at a time instead of trying to do all of it at a time. Then we'll see how long it's going to take to do all this. Now you can see here, all right, these roots have not really been dried. This is part of row 6 of my aunt's row 6. And so you can see how big and thick these roots are. And then you come over here. These are what the roots look like after a few days. We harvested row 1 Monday, so it was about a week ago that we harvested. They've been in this spot, I think, for about 3 days now, but they were harvested on Monday. Then the other thing that we needed to do is, obviously today's not a good day because it's raining, but sun is getting in here in the morning and it's getting in there in the late afternoon. So we just kind of threw some shade cloths on there. This was a shade cloth that Andrea's mother had. It was about 2 feet by 28 feet. Now, what in the world she used it for, I have no idea. But she said that we could have it and cut it. So I cut it into 4 pieces. And so last night it was still sunny. The sun was coming in over here. And it was blocking virtually all the direct sun on the garlic, which is what I wanted. And then the other thing I want to do is, as I rotate these, especially the ones on this side, is I want to try to push everything over towards my direction and keep it away from the edge as much as possible, because the shade cloths don't go exactly all the way to the edge. And so I want to try to push them over as much as I can to try to keep them out of the direct sun as much as possible. But this is the garlic, and so it's Sunday before Memorial Day now, so we'll see how long it takes for these things to cure. We do have a temperature gauge and humidity gauge, which is right there. And consistently, worst case scenario, the temperature and humidity is the same as what it is outside. As long as we have the doors open. If we have the doors closed, it'll get to 100% humidity virtually immediately. And then I'll start sweating inside. Oh, and I forgot to show the corms. Here's all the corms that we got right now. There's still a bunch that are still on the garlic, but those aren't ready to be plopped out yet. So Andrea wanted me to show, you know, how many corms we're actually dealing with here. So we have, you know, thousands of those things, and we have at least several hundred more still on the garlic, and we probably have a few hundred of them in the ground that we weren't able to get. By not able is I wasn't spending a week to sift through all the dirt to get all the corms out. So we got all of them that we could, and then the rest of them, they'll just do what they're going to do. Now here's all the ones here. All of these, the stems were broke off, and so we put those in the bread crates so then we could keep an eye on them. And then Andrea wanted me to show, this is our green garlic. So these things, they've cloved out, and so we're going to plant those in springtime. You're supposed to do those like green onions, where you just harvest them and you don't do anything to them. And while the stalks were still green, we would grab one of these, and probably to about right there, you would just dice it up like you would a green onion, and then we would put it in spaghetti or put it in salad or put it on pizza. And as soon as it was cooked a little bit, you still had a mild garlic flavor, but it wasn't like overpowering, and so it was really good. So think I'm about done in here, but mostly it was a success, except for me thinking that I could put several hundred pounds on cattle panels that weren't supported by anything. You know, who knew? So I'm going to leave now, and then I'll keep everybody updated on the garlic as it comes about. Because what we're going to try to do is there's a farmer's market not too far from here, so we're going to try to sell there. We also have other avenues that we're looking at to sell the garlic, because we don't have that many that we can sell this year. The good thing is we'll have enough so then people hopefully next year can say, you know, you had that great garlic last year, are you going to have any this year? And we can say, well, yes, we are. So that's the game plan, at least. We'll see how it works out. So anyway, I'm done rambling, and garlic harvest is pretty much a success. And I forgot one thing, which will be an addendum. To do all 2,400 garlic, which was about 6 rows, that took a total of about 12 hours. Now, that 12 hours was both Andrea and me, so it was about, 24 hours total man hours. It was me using the undercutter, which it took longer to bring the tractor over and take it back than it was to actually undercut the row, because we did 1 row at a time, so we only undercut 1 row at a time. But that used the undercutter, that was the physical harvesting of the garlic, that was placing the garlic on here in their temporary areas so they could dry out, and then putting them in their final locations so we could get as many corms that could be popped off, and any excess dirt that could be popped off. So that took about 12 total hours, and then we'll see how long it's going to take to turn all of these. But yeah, 2,400 garlic in about 12 hours. Last year when we did it, we were hand digging, but we were also cutting the garlic. So last year what we did is we hand dug all of the garlic out, which took significantly longer. And then Andrea wanted to, on the garlic, about right there, about 6 to 8 inches out, cut the stem here, and then cut the roots to about there. And then we hung them upside down on the mesh here. And that's how we did it last year. And then when I got to talking with my aunt and my uncle, and they're like, don't you dare do that. And so I'm like, okay. So that process, it took us, I want to say, about 15 to 18 hours to do 600 garlic, doing it that way last year, versus 12 hours to do 2,400 garlic. So it was going to be about a 40 to 60 hour job at least to prep the garlic the same way we did last year if we did that this year. And if we would have had done that, I would have cried. Because Andre and I have, jobs and everything. So anyway, I just wanted to put that as an addendum.